Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'll be teaching you the basics of soldering and basic health equipment you want to use when soldering. First things first, what is soldering? Google's definition of soldering is to join with solder. So with that being said, let's hop into the video. Here I'm just soldering a little chip to a number generator. As you can see, I'm trying to be real careful to try to get the solders perfect. What I'm doing here is I'm melting the wire onto the solder and then just like lightly dabbing it on there. And you can see here that I messed up. So what I'm gonna want to do is grab my desoldering tool, push it down, heat up the little metal right there, and before it cools down, press it in, and you see it goes up without an issue. There's no marks left or residue. It just goes up. And that's how you desolder. Right now you can see I'm just still soldering, being real careful. I really should have been wearing gloves because the metal tends to just jump and fly when it gets hot, but you know, sometimes those aren't readily available. Actually, what I want to do is skip back and show you what I just did with the napkin or the wet sponge. That right there is used to clean the metal off your solder for whenever it gets too tough, because you can see I'm trying to solder it, but that built up ball of just lead and metal is just right there. So with the napkin, you're gonna want to keep it moist and rub it gently. You don't want to hold it on there. If you hold it on there, it could burn or something. You just want to like dab it with the napkin. And here we're still just soldering, but now we're gonna go over the equipment you want to use while soldering. So with the equipment you want to use, here is your basic soldering kit. As you can see, there isn't really much. This is your desoldering tool. This is your wire. And this is your solder and solder stand. Whenever you're desoldering, what you're gonna want to use the desolder tool right there. You're gonna want to push it down almost like an injection. Like you're gonna want to press it down and then press the little black button that's right there. What that does is it releases the metal part that gets pushed down and pulls it up, making like a sucking motion, I guess you could say, and it sucks up the molten metal and the metal cools down almost instantly. But as I was saying earlier, what you're gonna want to use while soldering is safety glasses and gloves, due to the fact that the soldering tool can get upwards of 400 degrees Celsius in heat, and when the metal gets heated up to that much, especially the little wire, it tends to get a little bit jumpy. And when it gets jumpy, it jumps. And when that lands on your finger at around 400 degrees Celsius, you're gonna want to scream. And what you want to do is definitely not drop the soldering tool, because as just previously stated, it gets to 400 degrees Celsius. And if you're gonna drop that on a wooden surface or anything really, it's gonna do something. And you're gonna want to try to avoid that. So before we end off the video, I'm gonna show you the soldering process again so you can see, and then we'll just talk more about it. That solder was a little bit off, but you can see now, hopefully, how the process is when soldering. Now I'd like to end off the video with saying, please like and subscribe to Digital Bytes, and don't forget, Linux is dope.